Hey Dan, how's it going?
Kira, I am doing fantastic. How about you?
Doing pretty great. Coffee, plants, excellent morning.
Well, I don't have my coffee's gone. I don't have any plants, so maybe I'm not actually doing that fantastic. So way to ruin my day, Kira. No,
Happy
I'm
to
just
help, Dan.
all right. So what are we talking about today anyway?
Today, we're doing a three-part series on the top mistakes churches make when talking about money. In our last episode, we talked about the first mistake when talking about money, which is not talking about money. So, what's the second one?
Drum roll, please. The second mistake is that they don't tie giving to mission and vision of the church.
Hmm. Why don't pastors tie mission and vision to giving?
Yeah, I don't think people do this intentionally per se, but I think we just see often churches come in and they'll be telling us their story as they're onboarding their finances with us. And they say, yeah, we're about A, B, C. And then we look at their finances and we're like, actually, your spending is about X, Y, Z. Right. And there's a disconnect. And so I think that's part of it is it's you say one thing, but there's actually a different thing. And then when you're kind of doing financial updates, you're actually talking about things that aren't your mission and vision because that's where your money's going to. It's uncomfortable even to talk about money for pastors. Sometimes what they actually do is they have like a financial person in the church give the update. Now, I'm a financial person in the church, so I can say this, but sometimes the financial persons in your church are not the most elegant or exciting to listen to, right? Like if you get a CPA and they're giving you an update, they might go way into the details on things that the average church attender, they don't really care about, right? We're not saying you should never give that level of detail. There might be opportunities to do that or ways for people to get to access that information. But when you're talking about finances, you want to be talking about things that are going to excite people and they're excited for the mission and the vision of the church and they're like that's what I want to give to. People don't want to give to keep the lights on. I mean they might feel like they need to, but they want to give to see impact and to see the mission and the vision of the church go forward because that's why they're at the church. They're really excited about that.
That's interesting that you mentioned that because I'm thinking about church aside when I am looking to give money to, let's say, a nonprofit or something in my community that allows me to feel connected to my community, to drive that mission forward, whatever I'm passionate about. The first thing I do, I go to their website, I look at what their mission and vision is. And would you say that to be true of churches as well? I think when I'm church hunting, if I'm in a new city, I would naturally go to their website, see what their mission and vision is to align with it, to make sure that, okay, this is a church I want to attend. All the more I would assume is true of giving.
Yeah, for sure. Why would you invest dollars? That's ultimately what you're doing with giving. You're not investing to get a return to yourself, but you're investing in the kingdom. So you're expecting a kingdom return. So you want to do that and put your dollars towards something you believe in. And when people are looking for churches, they are looking for churches that are they're aligned with what they really care about. And so that's typically gospel things, right? And so, but if you just want to be able to say that your dollars are going to propel that forward, the gospel in the community, the things overseas, and caring for people in the community, the hope of the gospel, and that need. They just have needs that need to be met.
So, how can a pastor tie giving to mission and vision?
Great question. What I see a lot is that when people are giving an update on the finances or talking about money, there's this pie chart and it always shows 5 or 6 categories from an accounting perspective that churches have. Your building, you've got your staffing, you've got ministries, missions, outreach, general. For most churches, about a third to half of their money goes towards their staff and about quarter to a third of their money goes towards the building. And so when you put it up there, it's about 2/3 of it is staffing and building. And then you have another 5 or 10% general. And the typical church pie chart is 75% to building, staff, and general administrative. And then you have a small part, 25%, that's split between missions and ministries.
Not
So
very
it
inspiring.
exactly. I might not consciously think this, but what I'm kind of getting is like for every dollar I give, only a quarter of that is actually going on mission. But the reality is the building exists so that your youth has a spot to meet and so that you can gather on Sundays and so you can equip your saints. And the
Okay.
staff exists to help lead these ministries and make sure things happen. And so all of that can be tied to a missional aspect. What we recommend is show it from a spending on mission perspective. This is where you take your 3 to 5 top missional things for your church, like next gen and whatever that looks like for each church is going to be a little different. And then you just kind of break up your expenses. Hey, a third of the expenses for our building are for next gen, and 20% of our staffing is for next gen. and 10% of our ministry cost is for Next Gen. All of a sudden you look and actually like 30 or 40% of what comes in goes out towards Next Gen. Life changes happening through that. Now that's an exciting thing to give to, is to see, man, we're about Next Gen and overseas missions and a food bank or whatever those things are that you're doing at your church that are making impact.
It's really cool. And I think that speaks exactly to our mission and vision as parable bookkeeping and accounting for churches, right? Of telling the story of the kingdom with the dollars that your churches have. And that's essentially what you're saying to do.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, gave it to me straight. What's one takeaway or action item every pastor needs to take from this episode?
I would say do a spending on mission exercise. We have a template for that, so you can contact us and we'll send you our template for free. But it is as simple as pulling your spending by the major categories and then totaling up what your spending's going towards for each of those categories. So definitely do that. You'll see a transformation in how you even see where your dollars are going. You'll also identify, hey, some of this really isn't for our missional things, and that might be spending we need to redirect. So it's also great for finding that kind of stuff as well.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Dan.
Thanks you.